Welcome back to Triple Natures, everybody. Today I'll be introducing the nature of Germane versus Associative. This nature is on pair with informative versus concise and telling versus exploring. As always, every personality has access to both sides of every nature, and how you develop within your personality can greatly affect how you express a given nature. This nature pertains to how do you manage topics in conversation. The word germane means staying on topic, and the germane personalities are those who prefer for one topic to be developed to a fuller conclusion. They're looking to develop the conversation within a particular topic. If you have a germane conversation with someone, then you can generally look back and say to yourself, I can see, we were talking about this thing the entire time. Maybe the topic was dogs, and you can see how, although you talked about a lot of aspects of dogs, you can see that you were talking about dogs the entire time. On the other hand, you have the associative personalities. Associative personalities aim to develop a conversation between topics and ideas. They aim to pull in additional topics of conversation so as to keep the conversation fresh and alive. If you have an associative conversation, you might look back and think to yourself, where did that conversation even begin? Because it might have started with dogs and moved to cats and moved to kids and moved to house cleaning and then cleaning your car, and now it's like, where did this conversation even start? An important thing to note is that within any conversation there will always be a negotiation as to the topic of conversation. So if one person is wanting the topic to stay put and to develop longer, and the other person is wanting to move on to keep the conversation fresh, then there is sometimes a tug of war or negotiation that needs to happen. It's just that germane personalities will generally be pulling on the side of staying put, whereas the associatives will generally be pulling on the side of moving on. Both sides of this nature are very important and useful in different contexts. Associative conversation can be very useful when brainstorming, for instance, whereas germane is most useful when giving instructions, as an example. When a germane personality and an associative personality talk to each other, if one side of it is too domineering or pulls too strongly for their preferred conversation flow, it can leave the other feeling that the conversation has a problem. For a germane personality talking with a domineering associative, then the germane person might feel that there is no purpose to the conversation, that it is aimless, that it is chaotic. Whereas if the germane personality pulls too hard on an associative, then the associative communicator would feel that they are being straitjacketed into one rigid conversation state, and there is absolutely no breathing room in the conversation at all. When a germane and an associative communicator find a good balance with each other, then it allows for the associative personality to move the conversation from idea to idea to keep it fresh and alive, with the germane personality occasionally latching on to a topic, holding on to it for a time, expressing it more fully, and then, when they're done, they let it go and the associative moves them on. Please tell me what you think about this nature in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, if you want to help me with my research, please reach out to me. Till next time.